as I've said, that food provides, the food provides our body with nutrients. So this is the thing that we need to absorb or intake in order for us to survive. So many of these critical nutrients are what we call the biological macromolecules, or sometimes they call it large molecules, that is necessary for an organism to survive, to function the basic needs ng ating cell and the whole body. So these macromolecules are what we call the polymers. So mamaya we will discover what is polymer and this is built from different combination of a smaller organic molecules. So ito yung tinatawag nating monomer or monomers. So this type of biological molecules do living things require. How are these molecules formed? In this lesson, we are going to discover how these four macromolecules are formed. So with this two types of processes, malalaman natin kung paano sila nabuo, kung paano nag-join, paano nag-break. So this is the lesson that we are about to learn today. We are going to compare and contrast what we call hydrolysis and dehydration synthesis. Again, we are about to contrast or compare and contrast the hydrolysis and dehydration synthesis. As I've asked a question a while ago though, how these organic compounds are formed. So let's start with monomers. So these are the simple molecules. Dito nagsimula yung pagkabuo ng what we call the macromolecules. And then eventually, as they tied up together, they will call it polymers. So polymers or polymers are larger molecule made of repeating subunits. So these subunits are what we call the monomers. Okay? As monomers link together to form polymers. So as you can see, this is the illustration of what we call monomers and polymer. So due to polymerization, or polymerase chain reaction, so nabubuo ang polymer natin. So these tiny dots that you are seeing on your screen is what we call the monomers, or these molecules here, as you can see in this arrow, these are the monomers, and this line of molecules are what we call the polymer. So now, first, what is dehydration? So dehydration, from the word itself, dehydrate. So when we say dehydrate or dehydration, it is to remove something. Okay, so it is the removal of water. So in order for us to function, in order to build something again, we need to remove something, which is the water. That's why in order to build, we need to remove water in order for us to synthesize another form of polymer. Okay? So that is to form another macromolecules or another polymers or polypeptide bonds. So that is dehydration synthesis. Dehydration synthesis, it is a molecule of water is being removed to build a polymer from a monomer. So in the picture down below, you will see that this is a polymer. So this is an example of polymer. So the dehydration synthesis takes place when the monomers of organic compounds join together by a chemical reaction, perhaps through the reaction of activated enzyme or enzyme activated. So to make another polymer. So they are bonded after moving or removing the water. So dehydration synthesis, we go from small to big. So let's imagine that nagpatayo ka ng bahay. So those materials, halos protein lang yung pagkakaano nila. Kung mayahambing mo sa protein, it is ang building blocks nila is the nucleotides or the nucleic acid to build a protein. So dito, a monomer, it is the building block or subunit to create another polymer or to create a polymer through the process of dehydration synthesis. So in dehydration synthesis, water is moved or lost. So you will see it on the product side of the equation, right? So in here, you will see in this area, you will see that there is an OH or this is the example of, if I'm not mistaken, this is an example of type of sugar that is being removed, or the water is being removed from this type of bond. So after the removal of water with activated enzyme or enzyme activated para mapabilis yung process, it will catalyze, act as a catalyst. So mabubuo yung another product. So reversibles or vice versa, it can be there is two product here. We have here another polymer, and we have here the water. So there are two products in the reaction process. So the region of the enzyme where the substrate molecules bind and undergo in a chemical reaction. Okay, so this is the enzyme activated. So this is the meaning of enzyme activated, or they act as a catalyst. Okay naman, may tanong ba? So wala naman siguro. Okay, thank you. As we go on, so dehydration synthesis in carbohydrates. So this is an example of two monosaccharides, namely glucose and fructose. So as you can see, it can be joined to form a sucrose, or what we call disaccharides. So using dehydration synthesis, they are able to form what we call disaccharide, which is the sucrose. Okay, as you can see in here, the removal of water is being manifest in this area, creating a product of water, which is the H2O and the sucrose. Okay, so by the way, the general chemical formula of a carbohydrates or sugar is C6H12O6. So when we combine the two glucose, okay, or two types of carbohydrates, they form another type of carbohydrates, which is the fructose or the sucrose. So we will tackle this as we go on. So this is to show you how the dehydration process in each macromolecules. So in proteins, so they have here the formation of peptide bond. So when they say peptide bond, it is a bond of different nucleotides or nucleic acid. So we have here this one is the carbonyl group, and this one is the R group. So in the R group, meron 4 doon na type ng sa R group. Doon ang pagpipilian kung paano magsisynthesize or paano magkakaroon ng panibagong product yung isang protein. So may 4 tayo doon na 4 na grupo, which is the R group. Okay, so in this one, the removal of water happened here. So as you can see, they bond together, which is the nitrogen, or the N or the R group is bonded with the carbonyl group. So plus one molecule of water. So there is two products happened in here, or being created through this, due to this reactant. Okay, and this is now the product. Next, so if we are able to build a protein, carbohydrates, fats and lipids or lipids, how are we able to break a polymer into monomer? Since the dehydration is the process where the removal of water, due to the removal of water, our body were able to create another polymer. So in this process, which is what we call the hydrolysis or hydrolysis. So hydro, we all know that the hydro means water, and lysis means is to break. Okay, so as you can see, to break something. Okay, after this lesson, we will know why, or we will discover why we need to break something out of that product para makapagbuo ng another react or product para magamit ng katawan natin. So sometimes those kind of product that is being produced by through dehydration synthesis is not needed anymore by our body. That's why there is what we call the hydrolysis or hydrolysis to break that polymer or peptide bond para makapag-produce ng another type of molecule or type of macromolecules. So minsan, kailangan mo munang mapag-isa o mapaglayo para ma-realize mo na importante pala siya kung gaano kakalaga.
Wow!
So,
Grabe yung body.
Tuduhan ito, sir.
so that is ano yun?
Bang may pinanghuhugutan, sir.
Hindi naman. Inirelate ko lang yung lesson natin sa emotion. So that is how hydrolysis. Nakarelate ka. Ikwento mo
Yes,
na lang i-PM mo na lang sa akin mamaya. Okay, let's continue. So wala namang violent reaction regarding the dehydration synthesis, or is there any clarification that you need to ask? So wala naman, no?
Opo, sir.
Okay, thank you. So kung merong nabubuo, merong ding naghihiwalay. Yan ang tinatawag nating hydrolysis or hydrolysis. Next, continue. So in this illustration, you will see that hydrolysis is the process of breaking down large molecules by adding water. As you can see in this illustration, kung makikita nyo, in this, kadalasan nagmamanifest or nagbabond yung water sa carbon. Tama? So same with dehydration, nagre-remove siya coming from the bond of carbon. In this one, we are able to create a product through the process of catalysis or enzyme activated. So we have different type of enzymes that will help our body to create another product. In this type, there are two glucose molecules that is being produced in here. Okay. After that particular process have been being made by perhaps our body. So that is the product. There are two glucose molecules that is being produced after we add water from a reactant. Okay, so let's continue. So hydrolysis takes place when the polymers of organic compounds are broken down by a chemical reaction to make a monomer. So as you can see, after the breakup of this polymer, in that process, they are able, or our body were able to produce another 2 glucose molecules. Those 2 glucose molecules, maghahanap sila ng another partner just like water. So, we all know that water has a hydrogen bond, and that hydrogen bond is easily to break as the temperature rises. By the way, in the intermolecular pores, water cannot be easily break. So, kailangan mo ng mas mataas na temperatura para ma-break mo yung water na yun, or para mapaghiwalay mo yung bond nila, because it is a covalent bond na type of bond compared to hydrogen bond. Okay, so next is water is a reactant. So meaning to say that it will found, as you can see, it will be found in the left side of the presentation. Kung nakita nyo, I've already explained this, how water act as a reactant, or act as a reactant through the activated enzyme or enzyme activated to produce 2 glucose molecules. Okay, so let's continue. So as you can see in this picture, di ba may water, if I'm not mistaken, this is a water compressor. So as you add more water, di ba kapag malumot yung daan or yung tiles natin, o kaya yung tawag doon, yung lapag natin, kung masyado ng marami, we need pressurized water. So para malinis yun. So same with hydrolysis, kailangan natin magdagdag ng water in order to break something or to separate. Okay, from here, this is the simple illustration from polymer to monomer. Okay, so in humans, hydrolysis is happening when we digest our food. So living organisms must break down, okay, into carbohydrates, proteins, and lipids in order for them to utilize. So, hindi porke kinain natin, hindi na siya may process ng body natin. So, that's why we have these 2 process, very important process in our body in order for us to get the nutrients that we need. As you can see, this one, so this is a power washing driveway. So, it is it composed of tiny hose. It composed of the, what do you call this? The tip of that hose is what do you call this? Masyado siyang masikip. Paano ba yung another term for masikip?
Maliit yung butas, sir.
Maliit yung butas, yun. So maliit yung butas, then ang pressure nun and ang force nun lalabas ng mas malakas na tubig or daloy ng tubig. Okay? Same with our body. We need to add water in order to break something. So, may halin tulad natin ng pressurized water na ito or power washing na machine na ito sa hydrolysis. Okay? So, hydrolysis in carbohydrates, as you can see, it is a vice versa rin. This is actually the opposite of dehydration. Kung sa dehydration, re-remove sila ng water in order to build something. Here, they add water in order to build something, in order to build another product. As you can see, you observe that there is a sucrose earlier that is being presented in the slide earlier. So as you can see, this is an example of enzyme, which is the sucrase. So this is the enzyme of sucrose. Okay, so this is the sucrose. That enzyme or enzyme activated is what we call the sucrase. So as you can see, the water is being added to the sucrose, then it breaks to form another 2 type of monomer, which is the monosaccharides. So these 2 are the monosaccharides. Okay, this is a simple diagram that I have downloaded from the internet. I forgot to to get the link para makita ninyo. So this is an example, or this is the diagram of synthesis or dehydration synthesis and hydrolysis. So from monomers, synthesis reacts to separate the water from a monomer to create a polymer, while the hydrolysis reaction, it added water in order to create a monomer. So that is how opposite they are. So kailangan balanse palagi. So such as fats, minsan kapag hindi naman natin kailangan ng fats, what are the things that we need to do in order for us to remove those fats? Exercise. Ano pa?
Exercise.
Aside sa exercise,
Diet.
how about the innovation of the scientists or innovation of engineers in order for for us to lessen our weight or lessen the fats coming from our body? Minsan may lipo, tama? Minsan may mga products na binibili yung parang ikakabit na lang sa katawan, nagba-vibrate na, and then natutunaw yung lipids or fats natin sa katawan. So minsan, pero most of the doctors, all of the doctors or medical practitioners advise their patients to do some manual exercises such as the cardio. So yung hindi ko na ginagawa, and many exercises para matunaw yung fats natin. So that is the diagram of a synthesis, diagram of dehydration synthesis and the hydrolysis reaction. So for the summary or conclusion, so dehydration synthesis builds molecule by removing water. So putting monomers back together in our cells to use them properly. So that is the right word. We build polymers in order for our body to use it properly. Same with dehydration or hydrolysis. So it breaks apart the molecule by adding water through the process of digestion from the biomolecules that we eat or the food that we eat or that we eat. So that is our lesson all about for this afternoon. So any questions so far?
None, sir.
Okay, wala.
None po, sir.
Okay. With that, thank you and have a nice weekend, class.